What's up YouTube? I'm Dustin Phillips with Bull Bay Rods here today. We're going to talk to you a little bit about some of our rod models, specifically our Sniper, Stealth, and Bolt series. We're going to go over some of our favorite lures, reel sizes, line weights, and what the original design behind these rods were and the differences. Tune in and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more info like this. We're going to talk to you today a little bit about some of our rod models, specifically our Sniper, our Stealth Sniper, and our Bolt series. We're going to tell you what went into the design of these rods, what they're best used for, and some little tips and tricks on what we like to use ourselves. Feel free to throw some comments in the chat for future videos, what you'd like to see, and make sure to subscribe. The first one we'll go over today is our Sniper rod. Right here we have our 7.6 6-12 medium fast, which is our first model iteration of this. It comes in 4 different sizes: 7-foot versions of 6-12 line rating and 8-17 medium heavy. We like to keep our rod model line pretty simple. We don't want to give you a million different options. We feel these two are great overall inshore actions for just about all your Tampa West Coast fishing for redfish, snook, trout, without getting into heavier tackle. What we have with the Sniper, our original intent was to bring something extremely sensitive, extremely lightweight, and extremely accurate without being too expensive. So that's really the biggest challenge we ran into early on was, which components to use and how to pair those up. So what we have our carbon fiber infused reel seat. So the insert in here is carbon fiber, and that gives you direct contact with the blank, enhances the sensitivity. Design behind the grips, taper nice and long and skinny so it fits in your hand, along with the reel seat being ergonomic so it's very comfortable. So if you're casting artificial lures specifically all day, which I know Captain Jake here does, it's very easy to do, and it's not going to get you fatigued and worn out like a big clunky rod might do. All the grips are pretty tapered and sleek, just so there's not a lot going on in your hands, and it keeps it nice and light. The guides we put on every rod model, unless it's specifically asked not otherwise, is the Tangle Freestyle guides. So they all lean up, and what you're looking for with Tangle Free is it lets the line flow off the frame without getting caught and snagged as easy as you would on a standard guide. And what that does, that gives you better casting distance, less line resistance through the running and stripper guides, and lets you get a smoother cast, which gives you more distance and accuracy. Jake, what do you like to use on the Sniper, like a 7.6 6-12 medium rod, reel, line, and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I typically like, if you're pairing these up, anything is any type of 3000 size reel that you like. I do like the Florida Osprey CEs, their new carbon edition. I like the 3Ks.
Take the fish.
A lot of people like 2500s. I like the 3Ks because it's the same size as the 2500 and you get more line out of it. I love this rod specifically for throwing artificial, like any type of swim baits, jerk baits. If you're finesse fishing, any type of fishing you're doing in the flats, this is a very good rod. It's very sensitive, and it's also has a lot of backbone for a 6 to 12 pound rating. Pretty much too, I would go with 10-pound braid. You need nothing more. Power Pro's a good braid for that because their 10 breaks at a 30 pound breaking point. So you really need nothing more than that. So all around, this is a good artificial rod. You can use this for live bait as well, for greenbacks, if you're throwing cut bait, shrimp, whatever you like to throw. It's just designed mainly for artificial. We do have rods that are for live bait that you will see in the future in these videos. But we're just going ahead and show you the 3 main models we do sell here. So yeah, that's what I'll have to say.
Yeah, and speaking of like the braid, nowadays the braid technology has gotten so good, they're able to get it a thinner diameter and stronger, so you can go with the lighter braid. You don't have to put 30-pound braid on a reel just to fish inshore. No. A lot of people will ask us that question, and you don't want to overkill it, because if you do too heavy a braid, you'll lose a little bit of casting distance, and it might knot up a little bit and be more trouble tying your leaders and whatnot. So 10-15 pound braid for this size rod's great. That's the medium actions 6 to 12. The medium heavy version, what we did, we tried to keep the tip actions almost the same and then enhance the backbone so that you have a true difference between the medium and medium heavy. That way, if you're fishing in a little bit heavier structures or mangroves, docks, something where you need a little more backbone, I would recommend the medium heavy. But rolling from the Sniper, which that was one of our most successful early rods for artificial, and we've kind of tweaked it through the years. Following that one was our Stealth Sniper. So we get this question almost daily, through emails, our phone calls, messages. What's the difference between the Stealth and the Sniper? And you want to field that one. What is the main difference between the two?
The main difference is literally the grips. This here is EVA foam. It is actually a little bit lighter than cork, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But other than that, it's all about the look and feel. It's up to you guys what you like more. A lot of guys go with this too if they have all black reels, so they all match. There's really and truly no difference besides the grips.
Now, I'll tell you one small pro of the EVA, and some people just don't like the feel of it, and it's kind of a coin toss at that. But the really a big thing about the EVA is you won't get the visual, wear and tear. It won't look, as dirty over time. It's a little bit less prone to chipping too. Like cork sometimes can get chipped up. Depending on how hard you are in your gear, what type of fishing you're doing, if you're 20 plus day a month fisherman, or if you're a weekend warrior, some of those things come into play, but a lot of it's really just personal preference on the aesthetics. The performance is identical. You'll have the same blank, same action, same guides, same shapes on the grips. It's just two different materials. So really you're splitting hairs, but you can, go with the one that pleases your eye the most there.
What's cool too about these is, and he mentioned it, how the grips are tapered. A lot of guys, I do it myself, when I have a reel like this one here that's already equipped, if I'm throwing a jerkbait or anything like that, I put my whole hand in front of the reel, so you still have grip when you're setting the hook or anything. And to me, little things like that go a long way when you're fishing.
One of the big pros that we came up with these Sniper and Stealth Snipers, if you can see here, is this insert with that carbon fiber we talked about earlier. I mean, it really does make a big difference. And the way this reel seat's shaped, it's contoured and has a little bit of an ergonomic look to it. It makes it very easy, whether you're holding it up front or like me, where I like to wrap my finger around it a little bit. You get that contact there, and it gives you so much sensitivity, it'll blow your mind. And it's a minor, cosmetic enhancement too. It looks good. It kind of gives it a different look and feel than your standard rod, which most of those rods have like the standard tube style reel seat. That's not we're not big fans of that here. So we try to give these rods, a unique look and feel, but also sporty at the same time.
It shreds the weight too.
Yeah, absolutely. Cut a little bit of weight with that extra materials not being used. What that leads us into is the bolt. We wanted to come up with a version of these artificial, rods that were a little bit higher blank modulus material. So what that means is we wanted to go with a lighter, more sensitive material in the blank that was going to be a little bit more performance tuned, even more so than these already are, which they're unbelievably high performance rods for the price. You're under $200 retail for both of these different models. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to bring, a little bit of a higher end rod without going into, a crazy price tag area. We didn't want it to be a $350 rod. So we worked around the clock, put a lot of R&D in to come up with the bolt. Now the bolt is painted seafoam green, and a little behind the scenes on what we do when we create a new rod model. We do custom rods in-house since 2012. So a lot of our new models have been kind of guinea pigged on our customers. And if we notice a trend with certain length, actions, styles, or whatnot, we usually will take a hard look at that when we're developing a new rod. And the seafoam green was that anomaly that we noticed, just a very large amount of those orders coming in. And we wanted to bring one that we could simplify and put into our retail stores, so everybody had access to it, even if you didn't have custom rod budget. This rod on the spec side, it comes in 4 sizes, just like the Snipers and Stealth. 7'6" versions of that 6-12 medium and 8-17 medium heavy, and 7-foot versions of those. And really the difference for the 7 and 7.6 is the casting distance. Yeah. You get a little bit more accurate with a 7-footer, but that 7.6 is great for West Coast, Tampa especially, for casting, because those redfish especially are very spooky. So you need to be able to cast really far to them to not, throw them off and spook them out of the area. So those are the sizes, but this rod right here, we wanted to come up with a, similar thought process with the ergonomic type grip. This one is a hidden reel seats concept, so your locking nut is literally your rear grip, so you have no threads exposed once the reel's placed. And it kind of contours in the front. It makes it very comfortable whether you hold it up top or behind. You've got kind of that, almost like a fly rod up front. That was kind of the thought. Similar. If you fly fish at all, you put your thumb on that where it grooves out, and you got kind of a pressure point. It makes it a really comfortable fighting position for when you're hooked up to a fish. So what we did, we came up with the similar actions, but with the higher modulus blanks. Gives it a little bit more sensitivity. It's a little bit lighter, feel, and a little bit lighter flex through the tip section. So it's minimally different, but you can definitely tell the difference especially once you're casting around. It's effortless for sure. And then one other thing we did is we put the Gunsmoke plated Tangle free guides on these, and if you can see that here, they've got that. They're SS316 stainless steel, so they're marine grade. They're less prone to rust and corrosion, over time. So especially saltwater, that's a big must. Yeah. If you use inferior quality guides, lower grade materials, they'll rust and they can fall out over time. And we're trying to prevent all these little things. Now I know, Jake, you've used the bolts a lot. Do you have a big difference in feel? Like, what's your take on those compared to like the Sniper?
To me, the more the feels in the grip on these.
Okay.
Because of the grip alone. I mean, it's obviously a little bigger. The blank is a higher modulus blank, so it is a little more sensitive than the Sniper. It's hard to tell if you're an average angler and if you want to just have the best bang for your buck, the Sniper's a good choice. If you're that guy who wants the best of the best, the Bolt is a phenomenal rod. I personally use all these. To me, I just grow onto the grip. I just feel more control when I set the hook, stuff like that. It's a game changer for me in my type of fishing.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's a great looking rod. The color is by far the most popular we have.
A lot of boats that we've seen are seafoam or have that kind of seafoam in it, and it's just a popular color. It's very easy to go with outdoor, saltwater especially. You see that color everywhere. So we kind of took that color scheme, got our own certain shade of it, paired it with the navy blue thread just to give it a little bit of a custom-ish feel to it. Because that's really our goal with all of our rods is we want to provide, a production rod at production rod prices, but with the feel of like a custom. That's the goal behind almost every rod. That way, you're not going to have to go out and know all that you need to know about getting a custom rod built. We'll do another video on custom rod builds and what all goes into that and how to kind of start and go through that whole process. But really with these rods, especially with artificials, I myself and my dad, we fished a lot of tournaments when we first started the company. Jake fishes a ton of tournaments, so really artificial lures were definitely in mind. Now, you can definitely throw live bait. Don't let that be a sticker shock or anything. Yeah. You can throw live bait all day. That's not a problem.
And what we mean by that too, I mean, a 7.6 is really good for throwing live bait as well because white baits vary. It doesn't weigh nothing. Shrimp is small, so you still need that 7.6 and that that action to cast far.
The tip will help you. The tip on these rods will help throw those live bait without throwing them off your hook, which that can happen a lot with a stiffer rod. So you got to be careful with that a little bit. But tip action's key there. So that's really the big difference between the three is a little bit of aesthetics, some small R&D upgrades that we've put into them, but really they kind of sit in three different categories of price, and depending on your budget, the look that you prefer, you can go with all three of these and have no problem. We've been producing all of these for a few years now, and they all do very well, and it kind of depends on your fishery as well. But in the next part of this, what we're going to talk about now is some of the lures and artificial baits that we like to use ourselves with these models.